All right, we are starting. We are live. So, if you wouldn't mind, my name is Renz-Whitmore. I'm the community manager for New Mexico Technology Council. Sometimes I can even say the word technology. If you wouldn't mind introducing yourselves, you're the gentleman behind the NeuroGameJam.
Yes, I'm Chris Forsyth. I am a distinguished member of technical staff at Sandia National Labs. And I'm also the president of the Brain Hackers Association, which is a youth program focused on providing STEM programs to New Mexico youth.
Great. And John?
So I'm John Wetzel. I'm a senior member of the technical staff at Sandia National Labs. I'm also a professor of interdisciplinary film and digital media here at the University of New Mexico, and I help organize a lot of the game development events through the Rio Grande chapter of the International Game Developers Association.
It sounds so familiar. Can you tell me a little bit about this Brain Hackers group that you've got? And is that middle school, or what grades does that serve?
Actually, it's focused at middle school currently. At one point in time, I would like to see it expand into high school level. And I think it's important that it is focused at the middle school level, because if you look at STEM programs that are available today, there is a lot for elementary school kids. And all in all, elementary school kids are easy. I've worked with kids in robotics for the last 5 years. They are easy. They listen to you. They do what you ask them to do, and so forth. But you see a lot of high school programs that are really geared to, by the time they get to high school, you're picking up kids who really are looking at engineering, technology, and science. They may be a long way from a career, but at least they're on a career path in that direction, and there's been a significant funneling down. You see almost nothing focused at the middle school age level. And I think a lot of it's that middle school is a very difficult age to work with.
True.
Ask any middle school teacher, and they can go into much gorier detail than I can. And so, the Brain Hackers, one, it's focused on middle school age youth, and I see that as a gap in existing STEM programs. But secondly, and really more importantly, it's focused on neurotechnology and applied brain science. And again, if you look at existing STEM program, if you want to do robotics, there's lots of stuff. If you want to do rockets, there's lots of stuff. If you want to do CSI, there's lots of activities of that nature rooted in the physical sciences and really in engineering and computer science related areas. What you don't see is STEM programs that are oriented around brain science, and especially applied brain science. And I think this is very important because you have a lot of youth. You go to an elementary school science fair, and you see probably a third of the projects that have done that are focused on some facet of behavioral science. And generally, these are research topics that if it's something a person carried through, for any period of time, it's going to evolve into brain science. A third of the youth are doing projects of that nature. They're expressing that is where their interest lies. Now, they go to middle school and high school, there's nothing for them to do. If they're not interested in physical sciences, their interest in science becomes quelled. And I believe that there's a lot of youth that they start out, they have an interest in science, and I would also say I think this is more true for the girls than the boys, and especially true for the girls, that they have an interest in science. It's there at a younger age, but it's getting quelled because there are not programs available for them that focus on the type of science that they are interested in.
Yeah, very interesting. And it's a time where, the minds are sort of changing so rapidly, and, they're not understanding how, you're just becoming, the people that they're going to be. So it's a great time.
Socially, I've heard it argued that the middle school age years are the most complex years of one's life. That, from a social perspective, I've heard that linguistically, driven by what's going on at a social level, the middle school age years are perhaps the most complex period of a child's life. For instance, it's been pointed out how if you look at the language that middle schoolers use, they may have as many as 10 or 12 different vocabularies that they use all of it tailored to specific
Mhm.
social groups that they interact in.
Ah, wow.
And apparently, as you get older, that starts to funnel down such that, John and I talk in a different vocabulary than I
Mhm.
talk to my wife, but, it's much narrower range of vocabulary and much less complex than what you see at this age range. So,
Interesting.
so it is an extremely complex age where I think there's a lot of questions. I think a lot of what I see with the kids is I'm tapping into questions that they're having about themselves, about how stuff works in
Mhm.
terms of the group dynamics, why they did really good in the baseball game today, but they did horrible last week. They're starting to use caffeine and things of that nature, and understanding why it is that if I drink one Mountain Dew, I do better, but if I drink two, I do worse.
Wow. Let's see. I had a chance to kind of stop around and talk with a few folks upstairs. One of the things that I think is awesome, having worked with John in the past on some of these game jams, is the number of people that are participating. But not just that. One thing that I think is particularly cool is you've got middle schoolers, you've got high school students, you've got folks from IFDM and other sort of professionals. I hear they're like visitors from Mind Research Network. What are these people all coming together to do? Can you tell me, like, sort of in a nutshell, the NeuroGameJam, the brief version of that?
Sure. So everyone's come together to build games or applications that encompass these ideas of neuroscience. So some of the devices that we've been showing, these kind of neural headsets, that's really kind of fall along the lines of this nascent industry that's forming, this idea of neurogaming. So being able to create some type of consumer hardware that is able to scan different brain waves, and from that you're able to infer some type of mental state, and using that information you can then feed that into, say, a game or an application. So along those lines, you have this wide variety of different people who all have some involvement with it.
Mhm.
So you go from just understanding the theoretical aspect of what's going on in the brain in order, just as different thought processes or different mental states occur within a person. And then from that you have kind of the hardware side, the app developer side. So if you're able to now infer some of this information, how can you use it? And now you're looking at kids who ultimately will move into those positions, but also are kind of giant consumers of these games and applications and possibly these technologies.
Well, it seems in some ways it's sort of like a leap forward or leapfrogging ahead in sort of human-computer interaction. I mean, there's a lot of how the user experience design stuff that people are doing with a website and all that kind of stuff. I mean, there's some basic principles to that, but as we move into gestural interfaces and some of these other ways of dealing with your computing environment, this seems like this seems like a very exciting area that it's great to get folks involved with.
So absolutely, I think probably one of the coolest parts about this is just almost kind of the inverse with regards to what people know. So, we've done these game jams in the past where, the people who tend to do the best are the ones that are actively working in the space all the time. So, we have folks from the labs, we have people who are doing, some game or app development and, can quickly sit down and be able to churn something out in 48 hours. So, for this event though, Chris has put together like this fantastic STEM program. And so these kids are actually the experts when it comes to how to deal with these devices. So now we've kind of flipped it on its head where the kids are now the ones that are the experts, and we're trying to keep up to
That's true.
learn from them how to use these devices and what makes sense, and be able to put together something cool and interesting. And so part of the activities going on this weekend is that every team that we have, there's at least one or two of the brain hackers
I saw that.
working with them. So these kids are not just kind of sitting by on the
Yeah.
sidelines observing. Like, these kids are driving the show. Like, they're telling people, like, this is what these devices can do. This is what we've had experience with, and then from there, they're having this dialogue with the rest of the team, like almost at a peer level, on how to put this stuff together, and they've been an integral part of all the teams that are here this weekend.
Well, one of the things I do with the sort of the startup weekend kind of things is there's this period at the very beginning where it's ideas and you kind of create a team somewhat organically, and sometimes it seems like magic. But it really is making sure that you've got participation from everyone, and the business person is learning from the programmer and they're learning from the designer or whatever. So what I saw upstairs is just the fact that these folks, that the middle schoolers really are integral to this. They're not, oh well, this person's just going to watch over people's shoulders. I love the way that they're involved.
Yeah, I've had several people comment to me already over the weekend that they were just blown away. Just yesterday, one of the teams commented. Well, they had one middle schooler, and they asked, could you go rip some sounds? And he went into an app that they knew about but had never used, and started pulling up these just incredible sounds. And the guy said, it would take me all weekend to figure out how to do what he just knew how to do.
Wow. That's great. Any final comments? What do you expect, or what do you hope to achieve with this? And is this part of, this is a program that's been going on. What may be some next steps?
Well, let's see. So the Brain Hackers is a nascent program. We've only begun this year. We're piloting in Roosevelt Middle School into Harris, New Mexico. Right now, it looks like we're going to have programs in 5 or 6 middle schools in Albuquerque next school year, and hope to see this continue to grow. I believe, as I stated earlier, there's a STEM niche to be filled here, and we have enormous traction. I have about 50 kids that, essentially I have 1/7 of the school population that, as at some level participated in the program to some extent. So there's a lot of traction, a lot of pull from the student side, and I think that it's really important in that one of the things I've seen with these kids is working with professionals and adults, and you talk about neurotechnologies, neural interfaces to devices, and things of that nature. And one of the first things you often get is all the reasons why it won't work and what makes it difficult and the challenges. In the contrast with the kids, I say, oh, we've got this game here, and I think you guys can figure out how to maybe use key mapping or something of that nature to interface, and there's no doubt. There's no second guessing. There's no, they immediately accept the idea and, embrace it and dive headfirst in. And I think that's really important because, neurotechnology, I believe, is, we're probably within the next 5 years, I would like to think there's a lot of people doing neurotech apps. In the next 5 years, I'd like to think we're going to see the first killer app. And once we see the first neurotech Angry Birds, everybody's going to know about it. And in the next 10 years, it's going to be on everybody's Christmas list.
Sweet. Well, I really want to thank you for the work that you've both done to put this together. I think it's a great program, so I'm looking forward to seeing more. Just in case, and I may cut this out later, but so if people want to come and see, is there like a final demo or something like that? When does that happen?
So that's going to happen on Sunday, March 29th.
Oh, great. Okay.
We'll hold it back here at Mesa del Sol.
Nice.
And so we've been fortunate in having a number of great sponsors to provide prizes for this. So a lot of folks from the industry, such as NeuroSky, Etific, the Neurotechnology Industry Organization, all of them have provided some pretty fabulous prizes. So,
Fantastic.
So that's really kind of upped everybody's game with regards to putting stuff together. But yeah, we'll have a big award ceremony. We'll demo all the finalists and the winners for the.
Oh, that's great. Well, thanks again. I really appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.